This channel is not about attacking faith. It is about asking the questions that history tried to bury. Now listen carefully. When most people hear the name Jesus, their mind jumps to churches, crosses, rules, and fear. That reaction didn't come from Jesus. It came much later, long after his voice was gone, long after others started speaking for him. The oldest sources we have do not describe Jesus as building an institution. They describe him as unsettling people. That is already strange. Builders want stability. Disturbers create movement. In the earliest layers of tradition, texts like the Gospel of Thomas, the Gospel of Mary, fragments quoted by early writers like Irenaeus and Origen, Jesus is not presented as someone asking for worship. He is shown asking questions that make people uncomfortable. If you bring forth what is within you, it will save you. If you do not, it will destroy you. That sentence alone was enough to scare entire systems. The canonical Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, were written decades after Jesus died, in a world already under Roman rule, already obsessed with control, order, and hierarchy. Even then, the message leaks through. The kingdom of God is within you, not coming later, not owned by priests, already there. That sentence is dangerous, because if something sacred is already inside you, then fear stops working. Now here is where things turn dark. Across cultures that never met, Egypt, India, Persia, Greece, Jewish mysticism, there is a shared memory. Not the same story, but the same wound. Something whole was broken, something light was scattered, something knowing was pushed down and covered with noise. In Egypt, the soul is weighed because part of it is lost. In India, the cosmic being is cut apart to form the world. In Jewish mystical texts, the Shekinah, the divine presence, is described as exiled, wandering with the suffering. In Plato, humans forget their origin and mistake shadows for reality. In shamanic traditions, illness begins when part of the soul goes missing. No one says this lightly, and no one says it once. Then Jesus appears, not announcing a new God, but speaking like someone who recognizes the damage. He doesn't say, "You are worthless." He says, "You have forgotten." He doesn't say, "I will replace you." He says, "Follow me," which originally meant, walk this path of remembering. This is why he keeps talking about brothers and sisters. This is why he refuses titles. This is why he eats with people considered broken, not because they are weak, but because they are closer to what was pushed out.
Take this and share it among yourselves. What does this mean, teacher? This represents our bond. As I share it, remember. We will remember and follow. Good. Let this strengthen us all.
The Gnostic writers go further, and that is why they were silenced. They say the world is ruled by false authorities, archons, powers that thrive on ignorance, fear, and obedience. In texts like the Apocryphon of John, Jesus does not serve these rulers. He exposes them. He teaches people how not to be trapped by them. That could not be allowed to survive openly. So something happened. At councils like Nicaea, centuries later, belief was organized. Acceptable texts were chosen. Others were labeled dangerous, not because they were confusing, but because they gave people too much responsibility for their own awakening. Jesus the Awakener slowly became Jesus the Gatekeeper. The language changed. Hebrew became Greek, Greek became Latin, Latin became the tongues of empires. Yeshua HaMashiach, Yah saves the Anointed One, became Jesus Christ, a title shaped to fit thrones. This was not one evil plan. It was slower than that, more effective. Meaning didn't disappear. It was redirected. Now about the brother. The brother is not a missing man walking somewhere in history. That idea is too small. The brother is the exiled part, the truth that was pushed out so systems could survive. In Gnostic language, it is the divine spark. In Jewish mysticism, it is the scattered fragments of the primordial human. In psychology, it is the rejected self. In simple words, it is the part of you that was told to shut up, sit down, and obey. Jesus stands next to that part and says, "Wake up." That is why institutions were afraid. Because a person who wakes up does not need fear. A person who remembers does not kneel easily. A person who finds the light inside cannot be controlled by threats outside. So the story was adjusted, slowly, carefully. Awakening became belief. Knowledge became obedience. Union became hierarchy. Love became law. And yet, the original voice never fully disappeared. You hear it when something in you resists fear-based religion. You hear it when you sense that truth should not require violence. You hear it when you feel that Jesus sounds more like a guide than a ruler. That feeling is not rebellion, it is recognition. And recognition is what history fears most. So now I leave you with this, not answers, but questions. Real ones. If Jesus came to awaken what was forgotten, what part of you was never meant to sleep? If the divine was scattered instead of destroyed, who benefits from keeping you afraid of your own inner light? And if remembering is more dangerous than sin, what truth do you think you were told never to look at? Go to the comment section. Don't argue, don't perform, just answer honestly. Because the most frightening thing is not darkness. It is what happens when people begin to remember.